Hey everyone, it's 2026, and the question everyone keeps asking me is, of the premium pressure washers, which one? Which one should I get and why? So I'm going to hope to answer that question here for you today. So starting on my right is the Kranzle K1122TS, the old guy, the guy that's changed my life. 2.1 gallons per minute is the spec. I generally measure somewhere between 1.85 and 2.05. Let's just say 2 gallons per minute is generally what you're gonna get from this. The advantage or the pro to this, it comes with the hose. Disadvantage is you really can't swap the hose out. You have to use their hose, which is an okay hose. It's a 1/4-inch design. It is designed to be used flat, so I'd say that's a bit of a con. But in a cart-modeled, self-contained, simple to set up, get yourself all the OG accessories. We have various packages. I've sold thousands and thousands of these pressure washers. This is sort of the basis for what all of these have become. It's a radial axial design, and I think it's pretty freaking sweet. It's about $1,500 these days, so it is an expensive cart modeled version. The prices have gone up over the years. I think when I started selling this, it was around $1,000. So it's in the last 6 or 7 years, it's gone up about 50% in price due to tariffs and imports. But great pressure washer, fully serviceable, 3, 4, 500 hour rated, has a pressure switch when you release the trigger, just like all of these do. It's really an awesome machine. And the baby brother, or the smaller version of the K1122, is the K1322TS. The TS on the Kranzle stands for total stop. Basically the same design with a slightly different internal architecture. The way that these pumps work, which is different than those, is there's a plate in here, and the plate wobbles as the crankshaft drives it. As it turns, the plate wobbles and then pushes the plungers in and out. These have 3 plungers, 3 check valves, and they produce around 1,000 PSI with most size nozzles. This one here is obviously designed, we'd actually shortened the cord on our own, but this one here is designed to sit on a shelf, to go in a mobile, portable environment. But it's essentially the same pump as this with a few minor tweaks that we have in our self-contained unit. This came about when I flew to New York, met the Kranzle family at New York with our representatives here in the U.S. at Dirt Killer. I drew on a napkin what I wanted it to be and how I wanted it to function, and they made it, and we've had this beautiful machine for a long, long time. To me, this is like my 9/11 of pressure washers. Quick little aside, I didn't even get this out of the box. This is the K1622TS. In my case, I only recommend this pressure washer for mobile environments where you're dealing with a tank. You're siphoning or pulling from a tank, and you're on a generator. This only generates in the real world about 1.5 gallons per minute. The user experience of doing lower flow like that, unless it's a necessity, would not be my preference. So this particular pressure washer, you would always choose the K1322TS. We can actually open up the orifice on that and run it on a 15 amp circuit. So I would only recommend this if you absolutely had to have it. You always want to try to go to the 1322. So I'm not going to dig into this. We're not going to test this one or get it out of the box here today. So I just wanted to mention that. The next design, and I don't have both displayed. This is a dual architecture setup where I have 2 pressure washers set up, but this is the AR630 hot. And then they also make a brass head. It looks a lot like the 635 here. They also make a brass head version that is the AR635, total stop. Both of these, all of these pressure washers I'm talking about have a pressure switch. And the 630s you're getting measured 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 gallons per minute. These require 20 amp circuit, where the Kranzles, with a slight adjustment to your foam cannon orifice, you can run these on a 15 amp. These you have to run on a 20. They're going to draw at the limit of 19 amps, 19 and a half amps. They're going to run your circuit at, say 90%, 100% of its capacity. The difference in design here, they have all the same features, total stop. When you release the trigger, it turns off. Inlets and outlets are pretty similar. The difference on the ARs in architecture and setup is they have what's called a triplex or triplex pump. So it has 3 plungers. It has a crankshaft, just like the Kranzle has, so an electric motor that drives the crankshaft. But the difference is it has cam lobes like your car would, like your V8 or V6 would. And so those cam lobes are what drive the pistons, the plungers, rather than a plate. In theory, this is a better design. In practice, these theoretically should last longer, but Kranzle has really perfected this wobble, the wobble plate technology. I would argue if you're talking about serviceability and my limited mechanical skills, these are quite a bit easier to service than the ARs if you were going to do a full rebuild. If you're doing just general oil routine maintenance, they're pretty much the same. You may give the advantage to the new ARs because of the sight glass. I can see the oil on the side here. But the pros of the ARs is superior pump design. I do have the ability to see the oil, so it tells me when I need to do maintenance, where these you've got to just sort of dump out and hope. And so the easy serviceability, the check valves are right on the front here, easy to change. Another nice thing about ARs is if for some reason I needed the output to come out the front or out the side, I do have the adjustability. I could take these 2 covers off and replace the covers back in place on the normal inlet outlet. All have an unloader valve that you can adjust, but I would prefer to the usability of this, and depending on how I'm going to install. You can see we installed on the front because we're doing the dual setup, but oftentimes pressure washers you're going to prefer to have your inlet outlet in a different position. So these do give you that ability. The next big boy, which is coming out, this I think takes you to a new level. You need a different foam cannon, at least today. We may need some different accessories. You definitely need a dedicated circuit on this. Although this looks fairly similar to the AR630, you have the AR635. This one does just over 3 gallons per minute. It's rated at 3 1/4. In my testing with a 7.5 size orifice nozzle, I'm getting 3.1. This guy, I think, is sort of changing the game. The active 3.0, and then some pressure washers starting to come out. We're on a 120 volt 20 amp circuit. We're able to get near dual output at 3 gallons a minute. And if you haven't experienced it, 3 gallons a minute is quite a bit different experience. It makes the rinse off, makes the wheel cleaning experience more user-friendly. All right, so 2 of the most important things when I'm making a decision on the pressure washer is sound, not just how loud it is, but what am I experiencing? So I'm going to give you a little bit of my opinion and experience of what am I hearing. So we're going to give a quick little sound test here, give you the loudness output and also what frequency I think I'm hearing, and then flow. What does it feel like when I hold the pressure washer in front of my hand? What is the flow difference? And I haven't done this test before, so maybe this will push me over the edge. My beloved 1322 versus a 630. Or is the 3 gallons a minute, does that really matter? So let's jump into that right now. All right, one thing I should mention, the 630 versus the 630 hot, there's no performance difference. It's simply nickel-plated head versus brass head. It's ceramic seals rather than traditional brass and rubber seals, and that's it. Other than that, it's basically $100, $150 difference between the 2. So I only have the 630 hot and I only have the 635 regular. We are going to carry in stock 630, 635, and the 635 hot. We'll be able to order these, the 630 hot. I don't see the point. It's very similar in price to the brass head 635. And I think if you have dedicated 20 amps, my suggestion would be get the big boy. The big boy is awesome. The main reason why we're gonna carry the 630 is just price point difference. All right, so get on me. I'm gonna stand in the same spot, which is right here for each one of these. and then I'll take one step back for the ones that are going to be in front. And so this is my line, which is right in line with that. I'll turn this on. All right, go ahead and pull the trigger. Hold it. Okay. All right, so the 630 hot is gonna sound the same. We're getting around 68 decibels, very pleasant, turns on and off really quickly. It's got a good frequency to it. Like it it doesn't sound whiny or annoying. It sounds like Italy, like Italian. It sounds like an Italian pressure washer. And that's the big difference, right? German versus Italian. It's a difference in how they construct it, how they put it together. All right, so let's test the 635. Okay, single 630 or 630 hot. You're gonna use generally a 5.0 nozzle. See, to me, it's pretty negligible, the difference between the Kranzle, the 1322, and the 630. I mean, I think you could probably tell, because I'm doing side by side, but if you didn't have both, I don't think you'd know the difference. That extra 0.2 gallons a minute is pretty negligible. But, you know, it is a triplex design, and there are some advantages to that. All right, so the 635 and 635 hot, you can run 6.5, 7.0, or a 7.5 nozzle. I actually think I prefer the 7.5. This is the 7.0. It's like right at the edge of comfortable on my hand. I think I like the 7.5 better, which I pick up about a tenth of flow. Tenth more flow, tenth of a gallon per minute more flow, and it's just moving. You can even see it getting kicked back toward me. It's moving more water. It's the preference. Not quite duals, but really nice. Okay. All right, go ahead. Up close. Okay. Now let me do the flow test. All right, let me have this. All right, so for the Kranzle, we need a 4.0 nozzle. I like to do this this little test here, and I'll be careful with this, do it at your own risk. But I'm about 18 inches away or 12 inches away on my hand, and I want to see what it feels like, flow. So that's about 2 gallons a minute. 4.0 nozzle. Okay, so flow obviously goes to the 635. If you can swing it, if you can spend the extra money, do the extra things to level up, you obviously want to go 635. 3 gallons a minute is a big difference between 2.1 and 3.1 gallons per minute. I think that you'll want that for your washing experience. Makes rinsing easier, makes foaming better, makes the whole wash experience a little bit more excellent. Is it necessary? Certainly not. Could you get by with a 1322 or a 630? I think you could. So I told you I'd answer the question, which one? Which one is better? I think you can see in this sort of real world testing, the 1322 holds its own. It's technically inferior from a pump design and an output, just on specs on paper. But in person, in function, it's quieter. It's more pleasant sounding. I would pick this one over the others pretty handily. Then the 635 actually has the least pleasant kind of grindy sound to it. The 630 kind of fits in the middle there. But if you're doing one of the Kranzles, it's a very elegant design. This to me is like, I just got a 488 but I still have a 911 in the garage and I'm not willing to give up the 911. This to me, these pressure washers are the 911. They hold, maybe there's some nostalgia for me, but I think that this still makes a lot of sense. If you've been dreaming around a Kranzle, I don't think you should give up that dream. These guys are amazing. I think their pressure switch is a little better. They turn off and on a little bit more seamlessly, and then the sound more pleasant and quieter. So it kind of wins on both fronts. Now in the 630 world, again, I think you either do a 630 brass just to keep the price down. That would be another selling point at $950 or so, depending on when you're watching this, $1,000 for a 630. You would just do the regular brass head. If you're gonna go to nickel, I would go all the way to the 635 hot. And that would be my choice. 635 hot, AR630, K1322 would be the 3 pressure washers that you should be considering. If you're a German engineered Kranzle guy, and I've been pitching you this for years, if you still have that in your heart, I think you go here, but I don't think you can go wrong on an AR630. In the dual setup, I have both dual 630s and dual 1322s. I don't think it makes sense to do a dual 635. In a dual pressure washer setup, I prefer the Kranzles over at the AR. You get to 4.6 gallons a minute. It's, I actually think 4.2, 4.3 is kind of perfect. Or 4.18, I think is what we got the 2 Kranzle. So in the dual environment, I'm choosing the Kranzle. So I guess I don't have a definitive answer here for you today. They're both freaking great. We live in a world where, man, this didn't even exist, and we were trying to take this floor mounted or this cart version and try to make best do with it. Yeah, I don't know that shoot. It's a tough call. I don't know. Tell me in the comments, what do you think? My money is probably still on the 1322, but man, those ARs are pretty. The thing that always held me back on the AR was fit and finish, and now look at them. They look fantastic. Kranzle, you better level up your game because, man, he's considering it. Luckily, I get to have both. Anyway, if we can support you, if we can help you with this, shoot an email to Nathan and team, Nathan and Tim, support@obsessedgarage.com. You can always email me, Matt@obsessedgarage.com, if you just want me to push you over the edge, or which one to consider. We live in a great world now where we have a lot of awesome options. The actives are coming up. There's other pressure washers like MaxFlow that's starting to disrupt as well. So we have the Germans, the Italians, and then we have some of the Chinese contract manufactured stuff that's starting to become serviceable and long lasting. That is the key to all of these. Forget the hot water part. These can all run 100, 145 degrees water through them. The Kranzle says right on the side, 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can run, whatever you need through these. They'll last a really long time if you take care of them. Shoot, even if you don't, they'll probably last a long time. So I don't think you can make a bad choice. You know me, it's very rare. I mean, I'll tell you what soap to buy. I'll tell you what car to get. But on a pressure washer, between these two, I think it comes down to your preference, and that's okay. Pick your preference. Both are good. If I'm lucky, maybe you'll buy them from me. Thanks for watching. Hope to continue to educate you on this stuff. As I learn it, I share it to you. Man, I love both. I'm just going to keep both in my life. One in my house and one at HQ. Thanks for watching. See you soon.